Hello there, you beautiful people. My name is Willow's Duality, and welcome back to Supreme Commander Forged Alliance Forever for a high-level Seton's match. And today, we're going to be getting right into the action with the northern team we're going to call Team Blue, and the southern team we're going to call Team Red, or I guess they're Team Green if you look at the scoreboard. It's all kinds of weird, but you know what? It's blue versus green, and we're going to go ahead and get into it, introducing the northern team first, starting with the rock position, and none other than the orange Cybran going first land by the name of Ruerzant. It's a bit of a difficult name. Ruerzant? Either way, he is playing Cybran. He's going to be taking up that rock position, that high eco position. Then we're going to move up to the north, where we're going to see ourselves a Vanguard Air player going blue as another Cybran for Team 1. He is a 1400 rated player going by the name of Marcus M. Then we, of course, can move over to the beach position with the brown color, kind of weird-ass color here on, of course, FAF, but it is none other than the 1800 UEF first land starting player by the name of Zwierzak. And then, of course, we go down to the front position for Team 1, already making his way to the middle. We have ourselves a beautiful Aeon player, and he is, of course, a nice lime green kind of color, and he is 1600 rated and going by the name of Silent Bug. Then we can move on to the southern team, starting yet again in the rock position. We have a Cyan UEF best color and an alright faction at 1900 rating. It is none other than Arai Jr., as I think how you say that, and he has gone first land. And of course, let's move on to the rearguard air position for Team 2. He was paused for a moment, but he's back to it. He is a 1200 rated dark gray Cybran going by the name of Cool Dude, and of course he started first land. Then we can go ahead and look to the east for the beach player for Team 2. We have a beautiful green color on a more beautiful faction, the, of course, Aeon here, and it is none other than the 2100 rated Moonrider. Then the middle position, already pretty much at the middle and meeting his match, is the yellow Aeon player at 1300 rating going first land by the name of Mr. Science. And with that, we have all of the players introduced. Let's take a look at the map. You all know it, you all love it. It's Seton's, over 11,000 mass here in the middle for these players to reclaim. And of course, we already know this is where all the action is going to happen in the early game. I'll leave the mini map up there. I know I've said it before, and I will probably say it again in future. I want to get back to casting. Also, I have a new microphone, and this is kind of a test of how the microphone sounds being live. So let me know if you think it's good. In fact, it's probably going to get a little bit weird. I need to move the microphone because I got to readjust in my chair. But of course, here we are in the middle. We can go ahead and see Mr. Science and Silent Bug going ahead and getting up a little bit of mass into their coffers for their teams. And overall, I'm expecting a pretty fun game. It's very high rated. We already see a transfer out here on the minimap from none other than, I believe this is Rue. We're just going to call him Rue. And he is dropping engineers over here on his own island. On the other side, we also have a transport coming out from the other rock position, coming out from none other than, I believe that is Tarai Jr. I gotta get used to memorizing these names whenever I first read them. But you know, as it goes, we have ourselves a standard opening to Setons. We also have the new standard in the fact that now we have, of course, Zwierzak and Moonrider showing up here in the middle of the map alongside the front players. I remember when that didn't really happen. Do you all remember that? Like, if you go back and watch old Guilecasts, it just rarely happened, but now it just happens every time on Setons. I also need to get back into playing the game. I haven't played in a very long time, admittedly, so if there's been some balance changes, you feel free to just tell me in the comments. If, like, oh, I'm saying, oh yeah, this is really strong, and they nerfed it into the ground, just let me know. Now, of course, here in a moment, we're going to check those reclaim numbers. I have a sneaking suspicion that Silent Bug is doing a little bit better here, but Mr. Science did get up a lot of those T3 bots. You know what? In fact, let's just go ahead and check it. Silent Bug is doing a little bit better, about 1,000 ahead of Mr. Science, and we also need to go ahead and look at Zwierzak, who is up to 2,000 reclaim. Well, Moonrider hasn't really had that much of an impact on the reclaim scores, only at 1.4 thousand. So overall, as far as the teams go, it's about 2,000 lead to Team 1. fun. And I've always wondered why don't people play a version of this map where the Salems are mirrored? I don't think the extra reclaim would be an issue, but it does kind of give an unfair advantage to the northern team, because if both beach players come, the northern team has 2 players who are going to fight for the Salems, and they are a lot of mass. We also have a few artillery pieces coming out from Mr. Science trying to force Silent Bug off. We also see Zwierzak going ahead and getting involved in a fight with Mr. Science's comm, and Mr. Science is going to say, all right, I'll eat the damage, I'm going to get the last little bit of reclaim I can, and then he'll probably dip under the water, under the waves. Don't know why I said water, so weird, but we're gonna go with it. He going under the water. He got his floaties on. Either way, Moonrider over here now gonna fire some shots into Silent Bug. They're gonna play a little bit aggressively, this southern team, Team 2. As we zoom out, we can't really see anything interesting happening other than a bomber raid coming out from Rue towards none other than Moonrider, highest rated player in the game. That is going to be shot down with ease, and we don't have any like cheeky transport plays or anything crazy going on. We do have, of course, a naval factory built over here and max range assist out of these engineers from Tarai Jr. That's impressive. Look at those beams. Them beams long. They got long beams on the engineers. And then over here in the middle, of course, Mr. Science. I do remember somebody telling me something about Chrono being changed yet again. I think it now works underwater, which would be interesting, but I highly doubt people will use Chrono after it's been as heavily nerfed as it was at one point. But who knows, maybe we'll see. We also do have a little bit of a fun transport play coming in. We got a drop of Medusa and an anti-air mobile piece over here coming out from Rue. He is really trying to play the harass game against none other than Moonrider. And this harass is actually going to be really effective, especially if he focuses down this mech. This mech is never going to pay itself off if these Medusa pay attention and just fire at the mexes, or even if they just have target priority on the mexes. Oh, let's see. Okay, it's down to half HP. If he can get that T2 mex, that would be huge. Are those 3 shells gonna be enough? Oh, sadly they're not. That's gonna be a painful little misplay coming out from Rue. I'm sure he would have loved to get rid of a T2 mex that just finished upgrading. That was just a complete loss for Moonrider, but instead his units are going to be taken down without really causing any significant damage. I mean, he could have also been trying to go for the power economy here, and that could have also been horrible, but he kind of was like a dog chasing 3 different cars and getting nowhere. You just like, he went for everything and got nothing. Sometimes, you know, there's sayings that are like, you shoot for the moon and you land upon the stars. Well, sometimes you shoot for the moon, you shoot for everything, and your rocket crashes and burns. It's like the first launch of any new spacecraft for SpaceX. You know that thing's going to turn into a fireball. Oh. But it's okay. Whenever they get to 150, there's no more fireballs. NASA is like somebody who techs up to Tech 3 in like sub 10 minutes, and SpaceX is somebody who is still mass producing Mantis at 20 minutes. It's just I don't know how I got here, but we're here and we're having a good time. So, of course, we should probably press enter, check upgrades. Do we have anything interesting going on? We don't really have any guns going on. Anything like that. We do have a little bit of early harass now coming out from none other than Zwierzak, I believe. That is Zwierzak. Yep, he is going to go ahead and harass the naval facilities of Tarai Jr., and he's going to be able to go ahead and get some kills on the engineers that are assisting, and that's really big. The engineers assisting really make this produce units quickly, and he does currently have less factories overall. So right now this area is pretty well and good under control of Tarai, but we need to make sure that he continues production, continues keeping things up. 1 submarine coming out from Zwierzak. Let's see if it actually gets much done, and right now there's nothing to counter it. So for the moment being, that's just going to be free damage going down towards the units of Tarai Jr. We also have some harassing frigates now in the production lines of the naval factories of Rue. Moonrider getting out, being aggressive early, as you expect from the highest rated player. We do have a few submarines going on here. It seems like he really put a lot of focus into submarines, trying to just make sure he doesn't get locked out of Navy. And right now, it's not looking like he has any chance of being knocked out of Navy. We do have another drop of Medusa. And are they going to be able to get the mass extractor this time? Earlier this would have been a lot more impactful, but he still doesn't get it. Mass extractor living on 60 HP. Oh no, it's a disaster for Rue. Just unable to get anything really going his way. It's brutal, man. If you just taken that moment, that just second to think and be like, okay, you know what? If I just focus down this mass extractor, he would get nothing out of it. Oh man. And then the second attempt, they were prepared for it. See all of these flares just sitting here? Very nice teamwork coming out from Mr. Science. Protecting your highest rated player. It seems a little bit weird because you're thinking, oh yeah, my highest rated player doesn't really need any help. He's going to do fine on his own. But if you protect him, if you make the little things that drain his APM go away, he gets to drain the enemy's APM a little bit better. So teamwork is the dream work. And of course, what is not the dream work is losing your island expansion to a bunch of specters. And this is a really interesting play, so it does seem as though Silent Bug on the northern team has kind of just abandoned land. This is a play that some people do. They go for the air approach, or in my case, I usually like to go for just getting into the Navy as the middle player. Going full land rarely works out. It's so easy to turtle on Setons in the middle position, so I do like to see it. And over here, this is going to be a huge headache for Tarai, and if nobody shows up to help him, he might be a little bit screwed here. He's going to have to start building up a few more air factories, most likely. He does have a transport with a bunch of T2 engineers now getting on it. Maybe he's going to send it over here. Be a little bit risky to send it right now, but instead, no, he is going to drop off over. He's doing an NG drop. I wonder if those are Sparkies. Is there an easy way for me to check? I don't know. Do they got a little gun on them? I can't tell. They might be Sparkies, and it does seem he's going to go for a very aggressive drop towards none other than Zwirezack. And yeah, these Spectres have just completely cleaned this out. I mean, there's still a factory here, so you can still build more stuff, and he is going to be getting reclaim over here, but this is looking really bad. That was a lot of his naval production that's now going to just be taken down by these frigates slowly but surely. And it's a really bad position over here. That is a very good play coming out from Silent Bug, really helping out his beach player. And if the beach player can get control of this area, if he can just push Tarai out of the water and then start making land incursions, this could be very, very bad. Now, of course, these are indeed Sparkies, and he goes ahead and reclaims the T1 PD that was supposed to protect this area and starts building up a fire base. Oh, Sparkies are so much fun. They're little riot guns going to town on everything around them. That T1 PD is going to be a big help here. The shield is going to make sure that no counter PD will do anything here. And of course, this doesn't address the bigger issue, which is that T2 Navy has now been achieved by Zwirezack, and he is going to almost assuredly knock Tarai out of the water. Now, on the southern side of the map, we do see, as you can see, two different ideas. We had the T2 air rush coming out from Silent Bug, while on the other side, Mr. Science has dipped his toes into the water, helping out his ally on the beach position, none other than Moon Rider, and they're going to be taking on Ruhr on their own. Now then, this fire base could be huge, and did he mix in one normal engineer here? Oh, I didn't know that Sparkies could now build factories. So that could be very, very dangerous now. A very dangerous situation indeed for Zwirezack. Does need to make sure he builds up a radar and maybe even throw up a stealth field, because this could just be taken down by the Triad spam. Zwirezack now coming in with his own commander. No radar is really hurting him right now. And that shield, of course, going to go down. And we have a bunch of T1 PD, which are becoming a bit of an issue. Oh, I think Zwirezack does have the right call here. He's just going to go for it. If he had built a radar, or maybe even just gotten scout planes up a little bit earlier, that could have been big. Okay, so the transport isn't going to get overcharged. Is it going to get killed? Oh, transport tries to get out, but failed. due to the cruiser there, and that little incursion, it does set Zwierzak back a little bit, but it was a very expensive incursion, a very expensive Sparky drop. That is kind of his last play that he had available to him now that the water is pretty damn hostile to him. And now you can see, of course, these Valiant class destroyers just getting in, starting to siege the main base of Tarai down, and this is where all the action seems to be happening. But on the other side, we do have a bit of a naval battle happening now between the likes of Moonrider and Rue. And Moonrider and Rue are just going at it, trying to deal with each other as best they can. Although the destroyer for Moonrider, I think it's probably getting a little bit more damage done, that is for sure, but it's being hunted down by a bunch of submarines and frigates. The frigates for Moonrider are doing very well, and if he can get a second destroyer here in a timely manner, this could be a very good play, but he has to really worry about that Salem class. It's very good at taking down frigates, and it's going to be a bit of a problem. But now it's 2 versus 1. Zwierzak is, or not Zwierzak, Rue is in a very bad position. Zwierzak's in a great position. He's just over here. He's living life. He's having a fun time. And this naval production is now under serious threat of just being deleted from the game. Another destroyer comes out, but now he's having to deal with frigates that just came over and killed all of the build power on his factory. Oh no, it's a disaster now for Rue. He is in such a painful position now. None of that build power was build power he could afford to lose. He needed every little bit of his economy, every little bit of his build power producing ships, otherwise he was screwed. And honestly, the writing is on the wall. We have to see what Rue is going to respond with, but most likely he gets knocked out of the Navy now. And that is going to be a painful, painful blow to the northern team. And over here to the north, that was a Control K out from Tarai. He has decided that he does not want to play through this game. And has decided to Control K after seeing these Medusa get dropped on his shore, or actually they're Lobos, and now all of his units have been sent to Mr. Science of all people, and or actually I think it was sent to Moonrider, and then Moonrider gave it to Mr. Science. So Mr. Science sitting on 2 bases. The Navy game is all but assuredly a lost cause, and what he needs to deal with now is all of these Lobos. He needs to try and protect these T3 mass extractors, and yep, can't predict a Control K, but it does happen. I don't believe it was like anything like a, I don't know, you all could tell me on the minimap, but I don't believe it was a strat snipe of any kind. Either way, we're gonna look over here to the east, and as I said, losing all that build power was the death nail here. I mean, it was already looking bleak, but losing all of those engineers that were helping produce, and you can see all of their little reclaim wrecks down there, losing all of those meant that the destroyers came out slower, and now we're gonna see Rue unable to recover here. We do have a strat bomber coming out from Cool Dude, is gonna go for a mass extractor. I don't believe it can even double past that mass extractor though, so if he keeps going for it, that's gonna be a problem. Would be a better play to just drop it on these T2 pigeons right here. Does kill off that T2 mechs. Yeah, kill off these T2 pigeons, at least force them to be a drain on your opponent's economy, which your opponent is pretty alright on the power section, I would assume. And the strat bomber does get caught out by the ASF, not from the air player, but from Silent Bug, who honestly is playing air very well for the middle player, or the front player. Has got himself a sizable little ASF fleet. I think it did just get knocked out by the ASF trying to protect the strat bomber, but does take down the strat bomber. And Rue is now in a lot of trouble. He's going to go ahead and run over to this pond, but I don't know how you recover from this position. You're just going to start seeing so many siege options coming out over here. It's sadly, since it's Aeon, you're going to have to go with either Torrents, which is T3, or Battleships, which is T3. I think Torrents is probably the better call, but we're going to have to see what Moonrider thinks of that. But he is going to want to get some siege stuff. He wants to take out this base and this base for winning Navy, because his opponent is doing very much the same. Zwierzak finally cleaning up the last vestiges of Navy belonging to Mr. Science. And things are kind of calming down a little bit. Both of the navies have been decided. We do have a transport of a bunch of T2 engineers now making their way over here to the, well, basically just the middle of the water here. He's got his own Sparkies, it would seem. Sparkies becoming much more prevalent, which honestly I'm all for. I like me some Sparkies. Now then, of course, looking here in the middle, we do have some harassing units, and we're going to start seeing a lot of governors, I would assume, out from Zweirzak. And then on this side, still just producing T2 Navy. No longer really needs to produce T1 Navy whatsoever. There is a transport over here, but doesn't really have any units to spare. Units to use on building up a secret Navy base. And here we sit. Really not all that much going on. I'm going to go ahead and just put it on +2 for a little bit as we wait to see what exactly happens. We do have some torpedo bombers showing up over here to kill off some of these units. And that is going to be an option as long as there isn't a critical mass of cruisers. Or ASF coverage, because Northern Team has 2 players playing air. Another strat bomber, this time out from Cool Dude. And over here to the west, all of those Sparkies now building up a massive amount of land factories. Seems as though Zweirzak is opting for the land invasion route, which is a very popular option. You have some other choices, though. A lot of blazes now coming in from Mr. Science, and this will shut this down theoretically as long as he kills the Sparkies first. He shouldn't have issues shutting down this land incursion coming out from his opponent, and it can even probably kill off some of these boats. But eventually you just park all of your remaining destroyers right here, and this no longer is possible. In fact, if they don't kill off the factories soon enough, the destroyers will just be parked here, and this will just build up on its own. Let's go ahead and take a quick look at reclaim numbers. I'm not sure what happened with that strat bomber. In fact, no, he's just building up a stockpile of them. Go ahead and go back down. Reclaim numbers overall, we're seeing 19,000 for Moonrider, followed by Zweirzak at 18,000, and 18,000 for Marcus M. Rue at 11,000, same for Mr. Science, and then 9.9 thousand for Silent Bug and Cool Dude at the lowest with 6.2 thousand. Now looking at overall mass incomes, Marcus M running away with the game, nearly 100 over any other player in the game at nearly 500, and then 343 for Moonrider, Cool Dude sitting at 216, Rue sitting at 180, Mr. Science at 172, which is actually 2 players, so Mr. Science is really struggling here. Zweirzak at 136, and then 118 for Silent Bug. Honestly, right now, if I were to say what the most important thing for any of these players to do is, it would be for Zweirzak to really focus on his economy. You've already won Navy. Mr. Science is probably not going to try and get back into Navy. You've already won it. You can pause your production. You can get full T3 mexes, and then you can just go for insanely expensive plays and make a game-winning strategy. I feel like he's been really focused on production this entire time, and it does seem as though he agrees as he stops all production, fully ecos. Very heads-up play coming out from Zweirzak, in my opinion. And of course, here in the middle, we have a nuke launcher on the way for Silent Bug. That could be big, but there's already a nuke launcher finished currently for Cool Dude, and he is assisting that. That is going to go up pretty quickly. Let's go ahead and check for anti-nukes. No anti-nuke over here for Rune. No anti-nuke for Moonrider. Not seeing one even for Zweirzak. And in the back, we don't see one currently for Marcus either. Oh, no, Marcus has built one right here. It's going to be loaded. Does that one cover any of his allies? No, it really only covers him. So, at least the air player will not go down, the highest economy in the game as of the moment. And down here to the southeast, we can see that this pond, as I said, is fully controlled by the one, the only, the Moonrider. And he is starting to produce Omen-class battleships, which will give him a decent range to deal with things. I would love to see some torrents mixed in, though. That would be a very interesting play. Actually, is this a torrent or is this an omen? I believe this is a... Oh, this is a torrent! Okay, so he's also building torrent-class missile boats, I think. What are they even called? Missile ships. Missile ships. Now, as I said over here, you just see like all of these Valiants just going to sit here. If you try and do what you did earlier, it will not work. All of these PD are going to be kind of helpful, but I'd love to see some T2 PD being thrown up instead of these TMD. Just get out of the range of the cruisers, accept that it's going to be a loss, and build a iron wall of T2 PD. So that way you can stop any kind of land incursion from making it too far from Zwierzak. Although Zwierzak just has to reach T2, build some mobile missile launchers, and that's that, really. But it is, I think, a decent investment. It does slow down that kind of assault, because you have nothing like that going on this side. You still haven't managed to clear out Rue, who is still sitting on a decent economy. In fact, building T3 mass fabs, trying to eco up as much as he can, building up a ton of these T2 Gunther artillery posts, trying to just stop the enemy navy from getting a foothold. In fact, that's a pretty smart play right there. The Apocalypse strategic missile launcher is about to finish, but unfortunately for him, the nuke is about to finish in the Liberator, and I would assume as long as Southern side has scouting, oh, yep, nope, that is 1000% going to be a situation of nuke the nuke. That's what I would do. You don't want to risk anything back here. You're not really seeing much of a threat currently coming out from Zwierzak. Rue he's not doing anything. Yeah, I think you nuke the nuke. And of course, the torrents and the omens, they're going to be able to come in here. The omen might struggle a little bit with the Gunthers, but I mean, you kind of just have to start trading to get your way into dealing with this base. You have to kill this off and then kill this off. And Zwierzak now building nuke subs. That would be a heads-up play. Has won many a Seton's game, mass nuke sub. And an experimental has just been built, and that was built by Mr. Science. He is a Galactic Colossus, which, honestly, if he sends it down the middle, there's very little that can stop it. Does the Northern team know about it? They know the GC was in production, and they can see the GC, so I'm guessing all these Valiants are moving to try and stop the GC from using the causeway. And over here to the west, we do have a T2 HQ going T3 HQ for Zwierzak, so he is really investing into this land angle.
Strategic launch detected.
And a strategic launch detected out of the Apocalypse launcher. Where is it going? Yep, as I said, you nuke the nuke. Silent bug gonna silently bug out. And this base is going to not so silently not exist in a few seconds. How much build power is he going to be allowed to escape with? He will still have a decent economy, at least from the extraneous mexes. He might have some power issues, and oh no, it's a disaster for the Northern team. That is a heavy blow. Silent Bug has been a pretty pivotal player in this game so far, getting into air early. But overall, it's also funny, both of the Rock players lost in this game. But overall, it's looking really bad for this Northern team. I mean, they have more reclaim, they have more income, but just doesn't feel like they're really making any progress anywhere. And their opponents are starting to make very nice progress. The GC is trying to just skirt the range of the destroyers, which if we go ahead and click on Zwierzak, yeah, it is going to be able to do so. It can get all the way in through the middle here if it so pleases. And that will be a huge blow, just getting a GC into the base. We do have a Monkey Lord in response. In fact, we're going to have two, and that could be very dangerous if the two Monkey Lords group up. Now, if they go in one at a time, not so dangerous, because I think the GC can deal with one at a time Monkey Lords. They'll get enough veterancy to deal with it. Actually, maybe not. Depends on the separation. But this GC now walking over to the eastern side of the causeway, just keeping itself away from all of these Valiants. Valiant's now eating a ton of damage from the Torrent class missile ships that are just kind of doing a drive-by action here. The Torrents over here, wow, this is a lot of Torrents and now a lot of battleships. We have a land incursion now being set up by Moonrider. So both sides getting their footholds on land on their opponent's side. The GC here gonna start moseying its way forward, gonna kill off a fire base or two. Now he does have to be worried about a possible air conflict. Air could come in and really destroy this, but there's gonna be two Monkey Lords, and two Monkey Lords is a lot of DPS to contend with. So let's see exactly how it goes. Maybe if all of the battleships were positioned right here, you could take on both of the Monkey Lords. But I have a feeling this GC might just be a mass donation at this point, as both Monkey Lords are going to be in range of this GC very soon. And at this point, once you notice it, once you see it as Mr. Science, you just have to accept that the GC is dead and do as much damage to that Monkey Lord as possible. There's a small chance that the GC kills one of the Monkey Lords before it dies, and if it does, that could be huge. The epic experimental fight going on here, and yep, GC goes down. Neither of the Monkey Lords go down. Very unfortunate play for the Southern team, and yeah, honestly, it's a disaster. Losing that GC right there, that's a lot of mass for the enemy team to scoop up. Now, can they scoop it up? Probably not. These Exodus would have something to say about it. So maybe it's not that big a deal, honestly. Laser now on the way for Rue. It feels a little bit late. It feels like you're getting laser, you're going for telemaser whenever you don't really have the eco to do it anymore, but maybe you can with that Monkey Lord, with the Monkey Lords assisting over here, maybe you can make something happen. And we have a GC production line getting thrown up now for Moonrider. He's got a lot of build power right there. That nuke sub is paused currently. For whatever reason, Marcus has thrown his comm up here to the north, which is, I just noticed that because of the transport. I thought it was a comm drop. It is not. And we now have SCUs. Do any of them have AA? No, they don't. And the SUs can probably actually get this GC. Now, how realistic is it that they all get out afterwards? It's a different question, because they're going to eat a lot of Exodus fire. But that is going to be quite big. Teleporter now on the way. The question is, does he have the mass and does he have the power? And he might still have it. So we could be seeing a telemaser very soon. You do see the Monkey Lord now showing up down here, going to try and shut down this land incursion over here from Moonrider. Strategic launch detected. Where is that going to go? It's seemingly going for this base, but I have a sneaking suspicion that Marcus M... Yeah, Marcus M is going to stop that. That nuke will be inconsequential. Teleporter still working on right now. Kill this science. Moonrider wants science to focus anything he can on all of this, and that's Percival's now coming. So this land incursion coming from Zweirzak, land invasion, I don't really know what to call it, but I keep saying incursion. This land play coming out from Zweirzak is huge. He is just throwing Percivals at the problem, and that's a very strong strategy, generally speaking. The Monkey Lord has forced the Navy back, but the Monkey Lord is going to meet a very cruel fate whenever it turns around and sees a GC on its tail. Huge amount of Air Force coming out over here from Marcus M towards the southern side of the map. Looks like he wants to deal with these Restorers. I don't know if this is an air fight you really want to take. I mean, honestly, he just kind of has more air, so he can kind of afford to bully like this. And over here, a few engineers being thrown down by Mr. Science. Overall, very well-balanced game. Didn't really mention it, 93% balance, but neither side really... Ooh, voice crack. Neither side really getting a huge advantage right now. So going to be interesting to see exactly how this all plays out. Moonrider built another experimental. Yep, and it's just another GC. He's building a lot of them. There's one just sitting right here. If he just builds 10 GCs and his opponents don't build enough spiders or megaliths, that could be huge over here. And he is sitting on a sizable eco. Only person ahead of him is Marcus, who has mass fab farms for days. Marcus is really ecoed up and built a ton of SMD with it. Oh my lord, he is paranoid about nukes. Monkey Lord now making its way across the water over here. And let's see, another experimental build. Was that also... No, it wasn't that. It was probably a Monkey Lord over here. Moonrider saying save. Saying don't throw that into the fray just yet. And quite honestly, something I'm a little bit worried about is comparing the air grids. Cool Dude's air grid is quite honestly a bit pitiful right now. 6 T3 air factories compared to Marcus M sitting on a whopping 14. So I guess it's 7 versus 15. So literally doubling the numbers of his opponent as far as air production is concerned. At least raw air production. So that could be a big problem. The air grid is still being expanded right now for Cool Dude. And in comes a... Oh my lord. We will blot out the sun with our missiles. These torrents are really... Damn, that's a lot of torrents. Oh, that's a Monkey Lord going down. The double GC push now coming to fruition. There's 3 Monkey Lords here, but I feel the GCs start winning this, and there's a 3rd GC on the way, and right behind that there's going to be another one, and then another one, and then another one. He's producing them very, very quickly. Just like he's producing these torrents very, very quickly. And now the map has been kind of split along the horizontal axis. The key players in this one are really Zwierzak and Moonrider. Everybody else feels like a supporting cast, whereas you have an antagonist and protagonist on each side, and it's the beach player. The Percivals are trying to make their way to Moonrider's base. I feel like Moonrider might... Yeah, he's just gonna finish the GC in time. The GC might die, but it'll knock out most of this. The Monkey Lord out from Cool Dude gonna deal with that. Strategic launch detected. That's gonna be coming out from a nuke sub and heading towards the base of Cool Dude. And over here to the east, we have 3 GCs. They killed off the spiders. Oh man, I missed it. I might come back in post and just throw a little thing on screen of them fighting. And yeah, that nuke took out a bunch of the defenses here for Cool Dude. And I think he's just going to be able to push in with all of these Lobos, all of this army here very soon.
Strategic launch detected.
Strategic launch detected. Now this one is going out. He's going to try and counter the giant push with his own nuke. Although I wish he would have just put it more dead center. His opponent is only going to get really clipped by this. He is going to lose a lot, but I don't think it's going to be nearly enough. Boom. And over here to the north, we have triple GC now threatening the base of Marcus M. And he's going to come in with a ton of Whaler heavy gunships. That might force the GCs back. You don't really want to just throw them away at the doorstep of your opponent who could be doing something like building a Scathis. I mean, it's queued up, but he's not actually building it. And that's a bunch of T1 bombers. And this over here to the west is a big problem, but these Cerberus, this is kind of what the Cerberus is best at. It doesn't really overkill the Lobos, and it has okay DPS, so it can just deal with waves upon waves of enemies. It seems the northern team is convinced the southern team has a Paragon, but that is most certainly not the case. They just have a man with... How much economy does he have? 766 eco, 766 mass a second, and he's throwing the vast majority of it into building GCs, which might make it feel like there's a Paragon on the other team. And now we have a bunch of bombers coming in. He's gonna need a lot of flak. But with full-on bomber production here, we might see a situation where the ASF out from Cool Dude can win this. And the game slows down as the air engagement kicks off. Huge Cybran versus Cybran air superiority fighter fight going on. And oh my lord, that was a horrible, horrible turn for Marcus M, and Cool Dude has just secured himself air. Marcus M is going to kind of just be forced to go back to ASF if he wants to do more damage with these air units, because Cool Dude can just circle his units near the GCs forever, and there's very little you can do without your own ASF to stop this. And mass megalith production underway as we speak. Over here, I mean, it's just Lobos, and they're going up against GCs and Monkey Lords. It's not going to go very well. And, yeah, this is going to be painful. This Megalith is over here. I'm in danger. Yeah, that's a not fun moment to be a Megalith. And oh my lord, this is a disaster. The northern team is just seemingly falling apart on the land front. Zwirerzak has a bunch of nuke subs. I mean, that's kind of like the last hope right now, is just mass nuke sub and hope it wins you the game. But even if you kill off all their bases, it's not like they don't have nearly double digits of GCs to push you with. One of the GCs does go down to this next Megalith. But this next Megalith is going to... I don't know, it might nab itself a second GC. Oh man. Megalith health is going down fast. The GC is very close to dying. And the GC lives on less than 3,000 HP. That has to be a bit painful. Another Megalith has finished up. Can it just maybe fire a shot to that one very low HP GC? Is going to try and defend here valiantly. The air for Cool Dude has seemingly dissipated over here, so he did get enough ASF to stop that from being an issue. One of the GCs goes down. The other two are right here, but if you just look behind this, you'll find there's another GC there. There's another GC here. It's all just kind of going to crap right now for this northern team. This Megalith, I mean, it might get multiple GCs thanks to that shield. The shields flickering on and off have been very helpful, but no, doesn't even manage that. Another Megalith will finish up. As long as Marcus doesn't run out of mass, he should be able to finish that up very, very soon. Just has to finish the paint job. Okay, there we go. And this Megalith is going to immediately spawn, immediately kill a GC. And now this 1v1 is very much so doable for the GC, or for the Megalith. Despite the GC having 5 ranks of veterancy, I don't think it wins that. But up here to the north, the GC out from Moonrider, who is just shoving Galactic Colossi down the throat of Marcus, has managed to kill off the air grid. He's killing off the Mass Fab farm. That's going to be a 5 vet GC very quickly. This 5 vet GC, I mean, it's eaten damage, but now it's running away from the Megalith. And it's going to be able to tank this for a little while, get into this Mass Fab farm up here. Then over here on this other side, very little going on. There's a Scathus in production by Cool Dude. That's a little hopeful. All of these nuke subs are nearly loaded, so that could be a scary proposition. These torrents have been shelling this position forever. Silent Bug has just said, no, I will not die this game.
Strategic launch.
And all of the GCs have kind of been cleaned up, but at what cost? He's heavy. Heavy is the weight of the defender. I don't know. Trying to be poetic, really not working. How many torrent classes are going to even die to this? Because if they have veterancy, they may be able to tank it. Okay, 3 torrents. Not a bad nuke. Now, this Megalith, I'm going to try and hunt down another GC. But we can see massive shifts in the economy this game. It used to be Team 1 with the 500 mass advantage, now it's Team 2. Team 2 has just really played well with teamwork. Like, you can just see right here, all of this is teamwork. And sure, Mr. Science has kind of been taken out of the game. He is kind of over here, but Mr. Science was a sacrificial anode. I don't even know if that's what that means. I'm using science terms, and I don't know what they mean. But he was the sacrifice that Moonrider was willing to make to kind of win the game by just focusing everything on this land push, everything on GC production. And oh, one of the nukes goes down over here. Did it get Cool Dude? No, it did not. Did stop the Scathus and deal with some of the economy though. But with that, I think we're going to speed it up a little bit because I just don't see how this northern team gets out of this situation. I don't see it happening anymore. The GC over here even beat that Megalith. And there's just too many GCs. Is he still building more? Yeah, he just has 3 sitting here. He's so rich in GCs that he can just have 3 sitting around and forget about them and still be winning the fight. The all-out devastation and carnage. And Rue, I guess, went for some kind of a play over here with his telemazer. He was trying to kill Moonrider, but Moonrider had tele defense. So that's Rue out of the game. Now there are only 3 players on the northern team. They've been fighting a 4v3 this entire time, mind you. And Zwirerzak's base is gone. And Para is still not scouted. We don't have one. Yeah, no, Moonrider just, as I said, he's been sitting on about 700, 800 eco and been throwing it all into GCs. That's a very dead megalith yet again. Something about megaliths and lasers just is not mixing this game. Marcus gets salty in the chat and control Ks. Zwirerzak
Detected.
and Silent Bug probably soon to follow. A strategic launch detected. Where is this going? Probably just gonna kill the nuke subs. Oh well, battleships, same difference. Zwirerzak, control Ks, assumedly. And now we just have Silent Bug. Let's go ahead and let's watch from his perspective. Let's just... sit here and see him go. Thank you all so much for watching, by the way. I know I haven't really posted on this channel in approaching a year now, but I still do love FAF. It's just life priorities, and I just found a pocket of time here where it was perfect for me to go ahead and record a FAF cast, and I want to play the game a little bit more. And if you've been following my other channel, I really appreciate you. And control K out of Silent Bug. That is the end of the game. It does not end with a bang, but with a whimper. And you all are beautiful. And this is Willow, signing off.